do, I'd love to introduce Leah. She has amazing things to share today. And as always, I really encourage you to connect with her online. And she's just a wonderful human being. So if you have any questions that are like beyond what you want to ask in this chat, like she's more than open to answering those. So feel free to ping her anywhere else. All right, go ahead, Leah.
Thank you, Erica. Erica, you were too kind. I seriously felt like I was receiving like an Oscar, like an Academy Award. I was like, I can't live up to this praise. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Nomadic Network. For those of you that are new here, welcome. We're so excited to have you. And I've been helping Erica host these for a while, so I'm really excited to give my own presentation. I'm going to go ahead and pop it up and keep chatting. Let's see. Okay, so FYI, all the photos in this presentation are my own except for one, and I will point that out. All were taken on literally an iPhone 8 Plus. Some of them are a GoPro, but I was very surprised at how great they turned out. So it's more fun in the Philippines. This presentation is going to be about traveling to the Philippines for the first time. It's pretty actionable in what you can take away, like apps to remember, food to remember to try, main islands to visit, etc. We are obviously not telling you to book a ticket to the Philippines at this moment because if you're American, they won't let you in. And they are not letting travel in and out of the country right now. I actually think they just opened it up for locals today to leave the country as far as leisure. But it's at your own risk because if you bring COVID-19 back with you and you infect everyone, then you're in trouble. So it's more fun in the Philippines. This was their the tourism board for the Philippines. This was their slogan a few years ago to kind of bump travel up. So I thought it was fitting for this presentation. All of the locations of the photos, if you're interested, I know a few people were asking on the past few presentations, they should all be right under the picture in the bottom right-hand corner. So this is the Twin Lagoon in Coron, which is on the island of Palawan, which is the most Instagrammable place in the world, apparently. And this is one of my favorite sayings. They say, when you die, you don't go to heaven, you go to the Philippines. Okay, so me. Who am I? So my name on all your social media platforms is LA in Flight. Some people don't even know my real name. It's Leah. They literally like, it's LA in Flight, right? I'm like, yeah, sure, that's fine. You can find me anywhere social media exists. I'm the Los Angeles chapter leader for Nomadic Network, as Erica said. I also help produce, and co-host a podcast called Ticket to Anywhere, all things travel. It's pretty destination focused at the moment, but we cover lots of topics near and far. I'm an event producer by trade. During the day, I love to plan events, help people plan events because I love connecting people and hearing about their experiences. And I travel for the culture, the people, and the stories, mainly. Everything else falls under those three buckets. So what do I value and what do I like to do? I'm a huge advocate of solo and budget travel. I don't country count. I value how long I can stay in a country. And because I'm a freelancer, I get to pick and choose which projects I want to work on, and I get to spend weeks or months at a time in certain countries. Oh, a little bit about my travel history. Born and raised in LA, lived in Las Vegas for a few years, backpacked South America for a year, then moved to Australia on a working holiday visa, did stints in Southeast Asia, been to Central and South America like 4 times because those are like my favorite places in the world besides the Philippines or Latin America. And I've been back in Los Angeles for 2 years, but I still go away as frequently as I can when COVID is not around. So I love staying in hostels. I love traveling alone. I don't stay in hostels when I'm not traveling alone. I'm really like a chameleon. So what I love, coffee, love hostels, like I said, public transport, big advocate of it. Mercado Central, like a central market. The first thing I do when I get to a city is I usually figure out the Wi-Fi situation, find the central market, find the best coffee shop, check into my cool hostel, usually a dorm, because I love paying $8 a night for bed and meeting other people, and probably taking the public bus to get there. So I like to explore all day and go out all night. Not all night, some nights, most nights. Why am I qualified to give this presentation? I traveled to the Philippines in February of this year, so this info is probably the most relevant pre-COVID-19. The world is going to change after everything has kind of settled down and we hopefully find a virus soon. But this is the most updated information you will have, you know, pending what changes are coming for the country and traveling there. And excuse me, my family's from the Philippines. That does not mean I'm an expert, you guys. I didn't really get into like my culture until like 5 years ago. I'm a first generation Filipino American, but this is my first time to the Philippines. I'm really good at taking information and dissecting it, simplifying it, and regurgitating it out so that everyone can understand it, which is why I'm excited to give this presentation to you. My plans changed about 8 times, forcing me to reevaluate all these different types of routes. And then my dad came in and dragged me to a wedding in the Philippines. So I changed all my plans because of that, like canceled flights, moved things around, and yeah, so I feel like I have every possible scenario in my head, and then I finally like went with one. Why the Philippines? These are some reasons you should go. There are all kinds of outdoor activities out there, and we'll go into activities later. You can explore the country on your motorbike, because guess what? Renting a motorbike is cheaper than literally taking a taxi or a tuk-tuk or a tricycle anywhere. So getting your own motorbike. But don't fret, you can still get around if you don't have your own motorbike. I do not drive a motorbike. I usually make some friends and hop on the back of theirs. Weird that I trust other people with my life more than I trust myself with my life, right? Very odd. There's so many islands to choose from. So if you want to see like cool wildlife, or you want to go diving, Philippines is huge for diving. Or if you want to just chill on a white sand beach, those are everywhere too. Or if you want more of the city life and you want food, like all different kinds of like a foodie life, then there's so many islands to choose from. Philippines, as Erica said, it's not as traveled as the rest of the, I learned this term last week, banana pancake trail in Southeast Asia. So your routes like, you know, Thailand, Bali, Cambodia, Laos, Vietnam, Philippines, people have their reservations about it. So if you don't want to just be amongst the tourists all the time, Philippines is a good option. There are a lot of tourists there, I will say, but it doesn't feel as overwhelming from the vendors as it does in other Southeast Asian countries. Everyone speaks English, and you'll learn why in the next slide. This is great for people who are scared of trying to pick up another language. Of course, as travelers, you guys, we all recommend learning hello, thank you, goodbye, how much, where's the bathroom, where's the bus stop, like, you know, learn the common phrases. Okay, I don't know like what I'm saying on the side here. Can you guys see all this? Like, okay, it's fine. Okay. So few history, culture, fun facts. Over 7,000 islands in the Philippines, but honestly, they consider like some rock formations in the sea an island. That shouldn't count, but it does. Over 170 dialects spoken in the Philippines. They say if you only know one language in the Philippines, you are the foreigner, which is my parents. My parents only know, well, they know 2 languages, but they only know one Filipino language, Tagalog, which is the main one. National languages, English and Tagalog. And this is because for the past 400 plus years, the Spaniards, the British, the Japanese, and the Americans have all ruled the Philippines. And when the Americans took the land from the Spaniards, they established American healthcare and American education, and that the language was a national language. So everyone grows up learning English in the Philippines. 11% of the country is an overseas worker. They outsource like crazy. I'm sure you guys have met like a Filipino in the medical field because they're everywhere. I think a stat like 25% of California's healthcare workers are from the Philippines. Something crazy like that, yeah. Devoutly Catholic country. I feel like they're very free-spirited Catholics though, because there's a lot of like gambling going on and they like to drink Red Horse, but they love to celebrate their holidays and you know, they like to practice their religion. Christmas season is huge in the Philippines. It starts in September. I'm not even kidding. Like Christmas music everywhere, Christmas decor everywhere, and it's still steaming hot in September. So I don't get it. They're just obsessed with the season. They're pretty conservative in dress. You'll see signs in some places asking you to cover up, which is fine. Like you always want to respect the local laws. Just like don't go out in, I tried to do this in Thailand and I got like, they're like, no, don't do this. But I learned in the Philippines, like you can't just go out in like shorts and like a bikini top. You have to like put a shirt on or put a cover up on or something. Some cool things that I learned when I was there, when they're drinking, in a group of a few friends, 5 to 6 people. This would not fly now with COVID, by the way, but they take their liter of beer, Red Horse or San Mig, and they take one small cup. This is a tumbler, it's not a small cup. And they pour beer for each person, like into the one cup, and then it's your turn to drink. And when you're done, you pour it for the next person. So they all share this one cup for 2 reasons: to make sure no one in the group is a rat and poisoning anyone else. And the second reason is so that you're paying attention to the conversation at hand and like when it's your turn to drink, not on your phone or not trying to like cupcake with someone else over there. So yeah, I thought that was really cool. And so I partook in it, you know, when things were safe. I don't know if that will still be a tradition moving forward. Formal signs of respect, saying like po at the end. It's usually geared towards older family members or older folks that you encounter, or if you're a server, that's what you would say. Informal sign of respect, like if you're calling a server over or a bartender or a friend or whoever, for the men you call them kuya, which means like older brother, and ate, which means older sister. So my younger sisters used to call me Ate Leah. Mythbusters, this is a good one. Food isn't that great, and the food is pricier than other parts of Southeast Asia. The food includes a lot of meats and rices and seafoods and vegetables that are steamed and boiled and filled with spices. It's very diverse. It's great for pescatarians, which I'm a pescatarian. I don't eat meat. It wasn't hard for me to find food in the Philippines. They season a lot with like garlic and onions, not a ton of spices. So the food is like, I think, you know, takes some getting used to, but it's pretty good. Pricier than other parts of Southeast Asia, a little bit pricier. But if you're talking in comparison to a meal in the United States, it's nothing. Like, for example, you can go get a plate of food on the street in Thailand for $1. In the Philippines, you get a plate of food on the street for $4. Not that crazy. Do they eat dogs? Does anyone even speak English? They don't eat dogs, you guys. Don't ask anyone if they eat dogs either. They don't. Everyone speaks English. Like I said, they all learn from a young age. So easy for people to travel around there. It's so hard to get around, and there's so much traveling between islands. Okay, well, nothing beautiful in this life ever came easy. No one's gonna serve you these islands on a silver platter and say, here you go. So there's ferries, there's buses. Yes, they take a long time, like a day of travel, half day of travel, but it's worth it. Philippines has some of the most incredible views, beaches, sunsets, sunrises in the world. So worth it. Too much traveling between islands. My recommendation for that, which I also explained further on, is make sure you go there with a lot of time under your belt. Don't go there if you only have less than 2 weeks. Isn't it dangerous? Isn't the president a lunatic? I'm not going to get into politics here. The president has done some wild things. You guys can read up on him and make your own assumptions. I have thoughts on him. My family actually likes him, the family living in the Philippines. They like him because he's built schools, he's built bridges, he's built roads, he's built infrastructure down in his hometown of Davao, which is in Mindanao in the south. Isn't it dangerous? It's the same as any other country where you're traveling. Hold on to your belongings. Don't act like a fool. You know, maybe try not to travel alone. If you're feeling comfortable, go with your gut. Like, just, these are the friendliest people you'll meet on the planet. If you come out with a good disposition, just like the folks at Honey Trek said, you're always going to get a better response. So what to pack? I love this slide because you know people like decorate their charcuterie boards or like they set up their plants or whatever. I love to do this when I pack. So I set it all nicely and I take a photo. So this is what I brought for 30 days. I will say I went to a wedding in the Philippines, you guys, because ain't nobody wearing heels in the Philippines except for me one night. That was it. And it was an indoor wedding. So that's why you see the formal dresses and the heels on the side. I carry a pretty big backpack. It's 80 liters. But because luckily I saw my family the second week I was there, I literally got rid of like a third of this stuff. It was great. So, and I always overpack. Every trip I try to get it right and I can't do it. So, okay, this is what you actually should pack. You guys need to have, these are non-negotiables. I don't even care where you're coming from. I don't care if you think you have all the money in the world to go get like a more quality thing in the Philippines. I promise you the quality is better here in the States, even though they probably made it in China. There's just something about it, the quality here versus the quality in the Philippines. Water shoes, you're gonna be walking on top of probably a lot of rocks, dead coral. You're gonna go canyoneering, like bouldering. And you know, there's spiky things in the sand. It's just best to have water shoes. I got some for 20 bucks on Amazon. They were pretty done after my 1 month in the Philippines. So if you want them to last, go with a more quality pair, but they did their job for the month. Waterproof bag, I recommend Ocean Pack. I got a 30-liter Ocean Pack roll top waterproof bag for like 30 bucks on Amazon. And it came with a waterproof phone pouch, which was excellent for my beautiful iPhone 8 Plus that took all these amazing photos you're seeing in this presentation. Water bottle. You can't drink the water in the Philippines, the tap water. Sorry, everyone. But everywhere I went, literally everywhere I went, they have water dispensers. So you can fill up your water bottle. Some of them are free. Some of them cost 1 peso, which 1 peso is 2 cents, you guys. So you're getting 24 ounces of water for 2 cents. Worth it. Yep. Sunscreen. Y'all, they sell fake sunscreen in the Philippines. I'm not even kidding. I saw a bottle that was like extra protection, 100 plus, super protection. I'm like, this is not real. I recommend buying Reef Safe sunscreen. I used Ocean Potion and Australia Gold while I was there. I don't trust the sunscreen they have in the Philippines. If you do buy it there because you lost it or something, you're going to have to find a real brand. It's going to cost you an extortionate amount of money, like 3 times the price you would buy it for here. Mosquito repellent, you know, I took a lot of measures to be protected from the mosquitoes before going there. So I'm not sure if my repellent actually worked when I was there, but I brought a mini bottle anyway. I really think the mosquitoes are only really bad if you go deep into the jungle. And I did not go deep into the jungle, and most people don't. So it's always good to have it on hand. Mosquito bracelets are also really easy. Travel towel. You're going to be in the water all the time. If you're going to the Philippines, you're going to be in the water. You want to bring a travel towel. I always travel with 2, one for the beach, one for the shower. So yeah, but I travel with like I see your face, Erica. I travel with like microfiber towels or Turkish towels that are like tiny. They take up no space, easy to roll them up. Sometimes I wear them as my scarf or cover up if I need to. Portable charger. If you're taking like a 10-hour ferry ride or like an 8-hour bus ride somewhere, you're going to want a portable charger. Keep those charged. I'm really bad at charging my portable chargers, which defies the whole point of a portable charger. Don't be like me. More than one bank/credit card. I've met a woman who only brought 1 bank card to the Philippines, and she was in some trouble leaving. She had to go to Singapore, and so I lent her some money. Luckily, I lent her a lot of money, like 150 bucks. That's a lot of money to go missing if it did. She paid me back the next day, but I literally said out loud, I'm like, why did you only bring 1 card? Because who does that when they travel? If you do, change your ways. Travel insurance. If you can't afford travel insurance, guess what? You can't afford to travel. That's hands down, that's what it is. There's a lot of great travel insurance companies out there. I always use World Nomads because I'm pretty lazy to compare. But there's even comparing sites for travel insurance, which is great. Some of them go as low as like $1 a day. But get travel insurance because you're going to be on boats, you're going to be hiking cliffs that you don't want to be falling off of, you're going to be jumping off waterfalls, you could be like on your motorbike, and people get in motorbike accidents all the time. Like, you want to get travel insurance. Nice to have. Lightweight rain jacket. I did not bring one. I actually forgot it on accident. It's fine. I just stood under an awning whenever it rained, which wasn't much. It would rain for like 5 minutes and then be sunny for an hour. Rain for another 5 minutes, be sunny for an hour. Waterproof camera and phone. I brought a GoPro and my iPhone, both waterproof. It was great. Trekking shoes. If you're going to be doing a lot of hiking, bring them, but I didn't bring them. I just stayed with my running shoes. Backpack rain cover. A lot of travel backpacks already come with a rain cover. Aloe vera. Luckily, I don't burn, and I usually put a lot of sunscreen on in order not to burn. But if you are prone to burning, bring the aloe vera, because again, you'll find like fake aloe vera in the Philippines. Toilet paper. Okay, my dad literally was like, bring extra toilet paper because most places won't have it. They straight up won't have it, you guys. If you're especially going public bathroom, they won't have it, or they'll run out really fast and they won't stock up on time. This isn't the States where you just, everything comes at the snap at your fingertips. Like, a lot of these places in, Southeast Asia, Latin America are not for the faint of heart, but you have to know what you're getting into. So it doesn't hurt to bring an extra roll of toilet paper. You could also buy one at a convenience store in the Philippines, so you don't have to bring it, you don't have to slug it from North America. Hand sanitizer. This is even more important now because a lot of these things in these bathrooms don't work. Or maybe you want to hand sanitize after you've washed your hands as well. Hat and sunglasses. I don't know what you do if you already don't travel with a hat and sunglasses, but I put it on the nice to have because some people are just super extra confident. And sarong, just to like cover up when you're going out, or you could use it as a towel, use it as a pillow, use it as a scarf, use it as a headband. Sarong queen over here. How am I doing? Oh, shoot. Okay, arriving in the Philippines, best months, December through May. December is beginning of dry season. May gets into the hot season. Anything after May through October, you guys, monsoon season, I wouldn't recommend going then. You get an automatic 30-day visa on arrival. You can extend another 29 days. I think you can do this through immigration office. I don't think you can do it at the airport. I can't remember, but it's about 60 USD. Fly into Manila or Cebu. Manila is usually cheaper, has more flights. Get around, you use air, boat, local bus, shared vans, tricycles, motorbikes. A lot of forms of transportation. Philippine peso. Manila airport, surprisingly, the only airport in the world that has a strong exchange rate, because people will tell you exchange your money at the airport. That's pretty lucky. If you can't, there's money exchanges everywhere. That's fine. Most ATMs will only let you withdraw 10,000 Philippine pesos per transaction. It's about 200 US. Take out cash early, ATMs run out. As with a lot of developing countries, they don't stock enough cash. And guess what? They're not going to care about your complaints that the ATM's out of cash. They're just going to tell you to go find another one. So Wi-Fi is widely available. Let's see if, there we go, pics. Wi-Fi, widely available, generally weak. You can buy a SIM card at the airport if you'd like. I was paying 150 pesos, which is $3 US, for 3 gigs a week. You could top up at any 7-Eleven or load your balance. Safety, meet the locals, never carry all, you guys know all this, you're travelers. Never carry all of your cash. Ask around for the price before you get on a trike. Like, ask someone else what the price should be. Try to negotiate down. Don't try to undercut them too much. These people got to make a living. Find a karaoke bar if you want to meet locals. Literally, that's the best way to do it. Make friends with your tour guides if you go on like boat trips or what other activities you're doing. Learn to surf or scuba. You will make friends that way as well. This is my itinerary. Well, this is the itinerary people do usually. Nice and pretty, right? When in the Philippines. You go in a little circle, a little loop. This is what I did. Wild. And I don't know if you can see it, but I numbered it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Like, this is why if you have longer than 2 weeks, do not plan your trip, y'all, because it's going to change. And this was the result of my trip changing so much. Where to visit? We're going to speed through a lot of these islands. This is Calasan Falls is the first thing I did. I failed. If you guys can reach out to me later, I'll tell you how I failed a scuba diving course, and then I went to go jump off cliffs instead to make myself feel better. So this was the result of that. The Gray Islands, those are the islands everyone pretty much knows. Even if you've never like heard of the Philippines, people know Palawan, they know Boracay, Cebu, Bohol, Siargao, Siquijor. The ones in black are kind of the up and coming. They're still tourists, but you know, up and coming. So if you want to add something new to your visit, go ahead and visit these areas. Like I said earlier, recommend waiting until you have at least 2 weeks to visit the Philippines from the Americas, unless you're already in Southeast Asia. Then you could go for a weekend if you want to. If you have 7 days, I would stick with one island. Highly recommended. 10 to 14 days, 3 whole islands. 14 plus days, don't plan it. Trust me, I tried. It doesn't work. Islands. Okay, so I know you guys love pictures. You just want to see the pictures. The water was really this blue. So I'm just going to go through some of the islands I went to. Not much commentary here. If you have any questions, you can just reach out afterwards. Second longest zip line in the world is in Cebu. I went on it. I've also, fun fact, been on the first longest zip line in the world in Costa Rica. So I've now been on the 2 longest zip lines in the world. Random. But Cebu is beautiful. Cebu City is the 2nd largest city in the Philippines, and that's north of the island. Negros Oriental. This is an up-and-coming island that has Dumaguete. This is where I went to the wedding. So after the wedding, all of us went up into the mountains in a van, which was awesome. So these are the views that you're seeing from Don Salvador Benedicto in Negros. There's also this really beautiful venue called The Ruins. It's literally like a wedding venue, which is funny because I saw this photo and I'm like, this photo doesn't look like The Ruins at all. So inside it is, but it was really nice and pretty lit up. Mindanao. So Mindanao actually has a travel advisory warning on it because there are certain terrorist groups in the Philippines. So the US government has warned Americans really not to travel to Mindanao. And that warning has been on there for a while because they literally used to kidnap, the terrorist groups used to kidnap Americans, hold them for ransom. So I went to this island with my family. So I was with 20 other Filipinos. If I had been alone, I may not have gone to this island. So it is something to consider. Beautiful places everywhere. This was the town where my stepmom grew up here with Beto Lagoon and Bugak Cold Spring down near Barobo. And you have durian at the street market in Davao. Davao is where the president grew up. And durian apparently is better in Mindanao than it is in any other place in Southeast Asia. Siargao. Siargao is very, very popular, you guys. They say it's the new Bali. So if you want to surf, you want to eat some like fruit bowls or acai smoothies, you want to do yoga, you want to visit like all the islands on your or all the whole island on your motorbike, come to Siargao. It's in Surigao del Norte. Absolutely gorgeous. I did not surf. I didn't have enough time here. So have to go back and do this again because apparently you can spend weeks here. Palawan. So I did Palawan on multi-day boat tours with Big Dream Boatman. Incredible company. If you guys want to chat more about it, I'm free to later. And they basically provide all of your accommodation, your transportation, and your food for you. And it's like a 3-day, 4-night excursion. So that's what I did. For the first part of Palawan, I went from El Nido in the middle to Coron, which is the north of the island. And it was about 16 people on the first tour, and it was so much fun. We just island hop on the way, basically. So, yeah, it includes everything, unlimited alcohol, which is key. And you get guides that just show you all, there's like 2 to 3 guides, or like 1 guide every 6 or 7 people, something like that. But they become your best friends in 4 nights. So a lot of long days of snorkeling and scuba diving if you wish, and exploring and eating amazing food and meeting new people from all over the world, which was fun. I loved it so much, y'all, that I literally got off the boat and booked another tour to start the next day. One of the most spontaneous things I've ever done, because the first tour is about $630 US. This tour was just around Coron and surrounding islands. This was about $420, but we negotiated for a big discount because there were 3 of us from the old tour going. And this was called Coron to Coron. We hit up all these special islands around Coron. Absolutely insane, absolutely gorgeous. And yeah, I could tell you more if you hit me up later. But Big Dream Boatman was the company I used. Island life on Bohol. I tell people I didn't really go here because I spent about 12 hours in Bohol. It was just an overnight stop. I stayed at Bohol Bee Farm. That was it. And this was the most amazing breakfast I had in the Philippines. Siquijor. Siquijor, there's some waterfalls. It's the witchcraft capital of the Philippines, although they don't really practice witchcraft there anymore. It's just like old myths and whatnot. But it's a great island. The roads are really nicely paved. So it's a great island to take a motorbike and ride around on. And some views from the islands out here. There's a 24/7 diner there, which is really odd because it's not a very populated island, you guys. So I don't know how they can keep their operations running at this one diner 24/7, but there is a karaoke restaurant right behind it. So after you go eat your amazing dinner that you pick out yourself and they fry it up for you, you go to the karaoke place behind it and hang out with the locals. Oh, Apple Island. Apple Island is just a short 1-hour boat ride from Siquijor. The best snorkeling and diving I have seen in the Philippines, and I didn't even scuba dive, I just snorkeled. So highly recommended. It's only a day trip from Siquijor. You can also get there from Dumaguete. Activities. If you guys are divers, I can't even see the chat, but pop in the chat if you're a diver. Philippines is heaven. You can get your open water diving course there. You can also get your advanced courses. If you want to go dive with the thresher sharks up in Malapascua, you have to get your advanced diving course. So that's something to keep in mind. That's going to run you another few days and a couple $100 more. You can also snorkel. Rent gear for starting at $2, or you can get one of those full face masks for like 30. Those, which are really apparently good, but you literally like look like Bane in a clear mask. So trekking, lots of wildlife. I only put the tarsiers and thresher sharks here. I don't believe in going to see the whale sharks in Oslob. I think personally there's ethical issues, so I didn't go care to see them just because they're around a lot of boats. They try to feed them. It's just too much for me. Canyoneering and jumping off waterfalls in Kawasan Falls, second longest zip line in the world. Boat tours, best way to explore Palawan, or if you're on a budget in any other island or you're short on time, just in Siargao, I did a full day boat tour and we hit up 4 islands. So it was fantastic. Yeah, good way to do it. And it was like $30 and you have food included. So pretty good deal. What to eat, Budo fight, standard. Everyone eats with their hands and you kind of all stand around and eat with your hands. Yeah, it's really cool. It's very traditional Filipino meal. And it's a great way, like you feel close to everyone you're eating with, because you are. Peanut butter banana bowls, that's just some Western taste for you there for all those who need something healthy from the meat and rice that they serve all the time. Halo halo means mix in Tagalog. It's shaved ice, ube ice cream, leche flan, red bean, condensed milk, a lot of gelatin. The best dessert, Filipino staple. You got to go there and try it. It's hard to find in the US and it'll be way more expensive. This little halo halo in the Philippines was like $3. A lot of food, a lot of meat. If you're not a meat eater, I'm sorry. I felt sorry for myself, but it's okay because I, weirdly enough, ended up going to a lot of like vegan and vegetarian places. I guarantee you these are the millennial Filipinos that are like, I'm gonna make this trendy, like turn this traditional meal and make it vegan. So one lechon right here, roasted pig, that's also a traditional Filipino meal. I didn't eat any of it. Oh, this is the one picture that's not mine, you guys, this lechon. The one picture that's not mine. Because I didn't eat any, so I didn't have a photo. But yeah, everything's good. A lot of seafood. So if you're pescatarian like myself, a lot of good seafood. This is me and my pops down in the bottom left right here holding the durian. There's a lot of fruits. Yeah. What to drink? Okay, there's 2 main beers in the Philippines, San Miguel Light and Red Horse on the right. Red Horse is 7%. Be careful when you drink it. People have literally ended up on mountains the morning after drinking Red Horse. They're like, what happened last night? So some magic in it. Calamansi juice. Calamansi is a little lime, and they turn it into a really delicious, refreshing juice. Helpful apps and links. That's supposed to say links. These are apps that I was using while I was there. 12Go is where you'll find all your transportation. what time ferries leave, what time buses leave. You can pre-book tickets online, or you can always walk up to the ferry window or the bus window and ask them when their next bus leaves. Gecko Routes is pretty good, written by a bunch of Filipinos as well. Booking.com app booking is my favorite because you can cancel hotel or hostel reservations up to like 24 hours in advance. Really good app. Skyscanner, that's what I use to find my flights. You could fly between these islands. Maps.me app, I know we've talked about this a lot before. You can download maps for offline and save places to it. Grab app they use in the Philippines is like our Uber or Lyft. It did not work for me at all. So I was literally hailing an actual taxi with my hand every time. Something about my phone number, but everyone else can get it to work. And then your favorite currency exchange app, if you so wish, it's very easy to just walk up somewhere and ask them what the currency exchange is. Right now, well, when I was there, it was about 51 pesos to $1. So, sorry guys, that ran a lot over time. Erica, I apologize. Clearly have a lot of info. Salamat, that means thank you. And if you want to find me on all my socials, LA in Flight or Ticket to Anywhere podcast.
Amazing! Congratulations!
So much.
I must say that I'm thinking about buying whatever phone you said you used for all these photos because this was such a beautiful presentation and sounds great. Like,
thank you.
Photos are just out of this world, especially all those food photos. I have it on the screen. I don't know if you guys know, but as you're watching, you can actually like make your screen bigger so you can watch like 15 people at a time. And I was watching like a bunch of attendees just like at the food photos. It was hilarious. It was hilarious because I don't think you guys know I can see you.
So funny.
And
oh my
so
goodness.
that was just amazing.
Thank you. Should I take this down or should I leave it up for another minute?
Just before you do, everyone I'll say this again. I say this every time, but Leah's doing this out of the kindness of her heart. And the passion she has for just like sharing, teaching, and the Philippines. So if you can follow her, that would be just perfect. She has an amazing podcast and she posts like ridiculous photos on her Instagram. And also, if you have questions later, it's best to just directly email her. I know a few of you asked for the slides. That would be like just an email to Leah. So I don't have these slides, but if Leah wants to give them out, which do you?
Yeah, I'd love to.
Yeah, so just email her and she'll send you the slides.
Yeah,
so you can
there's
have
more photos where this came from, you guys. This is nothing. Content for days in the Philippines.
Oh my goodness. I've been posting throughout this whole quarantine travel photos from like past trips. So I highly recommend just going and, liking her Instagram page and writing this down. You can take it down so we can see your face.
Yay!
So
I can finally see the chat. Aww.
I know the chat's in there. Don't worry about reading through it. It went wild. We also thankfully had Axel in there, which Axel's been going for 10 years, he said. So he's been answering questions.
Good. I was scared all of my elders were gonna like, Leah, come correct, like wrong. So
well, we have Axel in there. So I'm just gonna go run over some of the questions just in case other people had these questions and weren't paying attention to the chat. So David was wondering if you needed a driver's license to rent a motorbike, and apparently that is true. And it could be from anywhere in the world. You just need to have that, right?
Yep, absolutely. I never rented one myself, but I keep hearing stories, and you guys don't want to get stopped by the police. They'll confiscate your bike, your license, then you got to go deal with the shop you rented it from. Just do things the right way, guys. It's easier. Yeah, have a license. Yeah,
perfect. Steven wants to know about the nightlife. Are there lots of options between bars and nightclubs, and how is it?
Yeah. You know what? The nightlife, you guys, I felt was very, because of the colonization of like the Western countries in the Philippines, like you'll find all the same nightlife. All they play is American pop music. So there's a big influence. I can't even stress how big the influence of the US is on the Philippines. So like they don't even play like traditional songs in the clubs. It's all like Justin Bieber and whoever you want to listen to. So nightlife is easy to find. It's everywhere. It's abundant. Some islands are funny and they only have like one big party that happens on the weekends, but it's enough. Trust me.
I
It's
have a
enough. Yeah.
follow-up question.
Yeah.
This is from me because I'm obsessed with weddings. At the weddings, do they play traditional
Ooh.
music or is it also Justin Bieber?
They'll play like a couple songs in Tagalog, or Bisaya. The wedding I went to, everyone was from the Visayas, which is another region of the Philippines. And then they'll go back to their Justin Bieber. They'll go back to their pop music. Yeah. The wedding I
Carmela?
went to was funny. They like pulled me up on stage, did some of those crazy games with me, and then the host didn't realize that I was a foreigner. Like basically they call us foreigners. She didn't realize that I didn't understand anything she was saying. And so I'm literally standing up there like, I don't know what she's saying. She's like, oh, you don't like speak? I'm like, no, I'm visiting. And she's like, oh my gosh. She's like, go sit down.
Oh
So,
my gosh.
yeah.
Carmela's saying that there's a lot of line dancing at weddings too.
Yeah.
Something to
Well,
look forward to.
yeah. We did a lot of like we did like the tala, which is a hot dance in the Philippines right now, like choreographed pop dance. And then there's a lot of Michael Jackson. Filipinos love like their old school R&B, you guys. They love their old school R&B. So you'll
Amazing.
hear a lot of that.
That's so great.
Hmm.
And then there was a question about traveling from like June to August, which is, our time off with our kids.
Right.
And so since it's the monsoon season there, like, is tourism dead or is it worth going? You just have to plan for extra days.
Yeah, it's rainy season. I wouldn't go. Literally, I wouldn't because they have like 22 days of rain for the month. And then it won't even be like spotty. It won't be like rain for an hour, sunny for an hour. It's just going to like flood. Yeah, unfortunately. So if you go to the Philippines, I recommend if you're going from North America, go on like your winter break if you can. Hmm. But prices will be higher, but then it's not worth it to go during our summer if you're just going to be rained in the whole time in a potentially dangerous situation because
Mm-hmm.
of flash flooding, etc. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then Axel just said that it's not a problem to go from May to
maybe
October.
October. Oh, I don't. Some places are different. Like some islands are different depending, like north, south. Um, I really think like my family has not gone outside of December through May.
Mm,
So I think if you just want the most dry weather, try going through those months.
okay. All right.
Starting
Great.
in June, yeah.
And then Dana was asking if there's any sunscreen ban there, and Axel just said that no, but it's difficult to get through the airport, so just be aware of that. But that was a really good tip
Sunscreen.
about there being sunscreen, like fake sunscreens and fake, you know.
It's just like crap sunscreen.
Oh,
It's like
yeah.
not real. Like 100 plus plus, that's not a real sunscreen. Come on now. 100 plus plus plus. What is this? Yogurt? Like no.
Oh my goodness.
I always, well, the reason I also wanted to bring, because, the Philippines, it's a developing country still, so they're a bit behind. They're not going to have reef safe sunscreen. So I wanted to bring, I knew it was going to be in the reefs the whole time, in the water, in boats, in these beautiful islands, and I want to preserve that for future generations. So I came from my home with reef safe sunscreen to the Philippines.
So you
Yeah, but
recommend it?
recommend reef safe?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I mean, it's pricier, but I was like, it's a small price to pay to do my part in protecting these reefs if I want to come back to the Philippines in the future.
Love it.
So.
Great. Danielle was asking, she said that you said you took measures against the mosquitoes before you got there. What does that mean?
Yeah. Wait, you guys, I just found a video that I filmed and never posted, and I need to. I'm gonna post it on my Instagram, but it's literally all these measures that I take because Mozzies love me. So I start doing like apple cider vinegar and taking B1 vitamins like a week before I leave. I also I treat all my clothing with permethrin, which protects against mosquitoes, ticks, etc. I don't use DEET because it doesn't work for me. I use picaridin, which is also found on Amazon, but apparently it's a bit safer for humans as well. And then I bring mosquito bracelets, repellent, the picaridin repellent. What else do I do? I use like a citrus soap to wash my clothes and my skin, like Dr. Bronner's citrus. So those are just 5 of the tips. There's more, but if you go to my Instagram, I'll post it probably tonight because I was just like, I should post. There's so much good information in here. But yeah, B1, apple cider vinegar, picaridin, permethrin for your clothes. Those are at least the measures you should take beforehand.
I just learned something I had no clue I was not knowing. Like something completely out of left field. I didn't know you could prepare for mosquitoes before you got there.
Well, do they not like your blood, Erica? Like, are you one of the lucky ones? Really?
I get tons of mosquito bites. I didn't even think to see if there was something I could do before I got there. That's insane.
Oh, I've had to do like research because I get I guess my doctor said I get like allergic reactions to it. Like I don't get just little bites. My skin like raises and swells up and it looks like I have like it like hurts. It's painful. Yeah. So yeah.
I love Krista says, I was today years old when I learned how to protect against mozzies.
Yeah. Oh, maybe you guys are lucky. That means you don't get bit.
No, we just don't know that there's like, how do we not know? Now I feel like what happened during my childhood that I wasn't taught this?
Wait, why is mine are just so painful that I'm like, I can't, like, I'm not, my doctor's piece of advice, you guys are going to laugh. She's like, just don't go to mosquito infested countries. I'm like, yeah, that's not happening. So I went and did my own research.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I agree. Krista also says the next presentation you give should just be how to protect yourself against mosquitoes. Everyone's like, yes.
Yes.
Can you just like type into the chat if that was some new information for you, or if you're like, those 5 tips, I do that before every trip, because that's insane.
Mm-hmm. You know why, you guys? They don't like vinegar. Oh yeah, thank you. You guys, they don't like vinegar in your blood. They don't like the thiamine and B1 in your blood. That's why they stay away. This is why I don't like it. Permethrin is an external block. Picaridin is an external block, but you want to put things inside your bloodstream that make you unappealing to mosquitoes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Great. Dana, who is an adventure adrenaline junkie, wants to know how big the waves are for scuba divers.
Oh, the waves for scuba divers? Oh, yeah. I didn't even know that waves. Do scuba divers take in consideration the waves?
Shore dives or boat dives?
Oh, she gets really seasick. Oh, okay, because she gets seasick. I'm looking at the chat right now. Mm-hmm. Really depends on the day, to be honest. When I was in Apple Island, I was like scared to get in the water. One thing I learned also about the Philippines, guys, I was like, I'm going to come back to California and learn how to be a stronger swimmer. Like, I know how to swim. I've known how to swim for 30 years. But some of these waves in the Philippines, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to go back home and fix this so that when I come back, I won't be so scared. Because there were some days where I was like a little scared to get in the water because they're so choppy. Yeah. But yeah, Siargao's got good waves for surfers. Oh, my cousin's on. I got some family on. You got the Filipinos representing in here.
Is that Manuel?
Yeah, he's my cousin.
Manuel. I saw the same last name.
Yeah. So if you get seasick, I also, this is the thing, mosquitoes love me. I don't get seasick. So I didn't bring any Dramamine with me. I didn't bring anything with me, but bring Dramamine with you. Take it 30 minutes before you go out into the ocean if you think you're going to get sick. Those are the tips that I have learned.
Cool. Mm-hmm. And then M the Gym is wondering, she's a vegetarian that doesn't eat broth or gelatin. And so she was wondering if that's like a hard thing to deal with there.
It's not a hard thing because I am mostly vegetarian as well. Well, the broth, they do cook a lot of the broth in meat. So you'd have to just flavor your food with. There's a lot of like different sauces available. But I like to eat vegetarian most of the time, and I totally understand your concerns. Do you eat, if she eats eggs, she'll be
Yeah.
fine, because like a lot of the, perfect, I love eggs. A lot of the basis of food in the Philippines is like garlic rice and eggs. Like that's what they eat for breakfast. It's so good.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Lauren was wondering. Oh, actually, Lauren just said that reactivated her wanderlust. So amazing. Catalina was wondering, what do Filipinos think of Americans? Like Filipinos in the Philippines. Like, are
Oh,
they excited?
yeah. I mean, the Filipinos can chime in on the chat, but what I've known and what I've seen, they really like look up to Americans, like, but they also kind of think we all have money going over there, which is also not true. There's a lot of deep family rooted history as well, between different families, but I think they see a lot of foreigners as like we come and we have a ton of money, which is not the truth. But American influence has been over there for such a long time, so it's really not hard to um, kind of ease into the Filipino culture, because it's so married with the like American Filipino culture is so married at this point. Yep.
Cool. And
Mm-hmm.
then Catalina's also wondering, like, what's one of the wildest cultural customs that you came across there that you were just like, whew.
Oh, wildest cultural customs.
Mhm.
I can't think of anything wild. They have a couple cool dances and traditional clothing that they wear that is based off like the crazy history of like Filipino oppression and colonization. But they've kind of taken it with stride and turned it into as part of their culture. If any Filipinos have any wild customs, you can go ahead and drop it in the chat. But there's some cool dances, there's some cool clothing, but I don't know that there's anything like too crazy, to be honest.
Okay.
Yeah, I have to think about that.
Cool. Axel says
Oh,
blue.
balut.
Yeah. What is that?
Okay, so there is this. I didn't mention it because I wouldn't eat it because I don't eat meat. I don't even know what sabang is. Balut is like what is it? Like a fetus, a duck fetus? Yeah, and they bury it underground. I see Ava. They like bury it underground. You eat it. It's a duck fetus, and you eat it. But my mom used to tell me that they eat it. People eat it in the dark because you don't want to see this duck fetus that you're eating. Yeah, they sell it on the street. Fermented duck egg. Yeah, partially formed chicken egg. They sell it on the street. I don't buy it. I don't eat meat. It smells really bad. It's really disgusting. I honestly don't know why anyone would eat it. Like even Filipinos don't like it. So I don't know who it's for. That is the weirdest thing. That's like the craziest thing to come out of the Philippines, hands down.
Yeah. Maverick is saying there was a balut eating contest at a Filipino festival and everyone was throwing up.
Why would you do? Why? What's the
Phil
point?
says just add vinegar.
It doesn't smell. It doesn't even smell good. Stop it. Carmela's a great drinking.
Carmela's a foodie though.
Yeah, I guess
Carmela
you
won't
have
eat
to.
anything. And
Uh,
then Sharon's asking, is there anything unique to buy in the Philippines? Or
hmm.
anything that it's like known for, so you can like plan your souvenirs, which we learned from Nikki to plan your souvenirs really well.
Right. Right. I brought back alcohol to the US. I'm not even kidding. The calamansi, that lime, the Filipino lime, they make a liqueur out of it. And I'm not even kidding, they don't sell it in the US. So I tried to bring back bottles of it, but they were selling out of it at the stores in the Philippines, so I could only bring the mini bottles home. So I had a friend there at the same time I was there, but I came home earlier, and so I begged him. I like Venmoed him money. I was like, "Can you please get me a full few bottles of the calamansi liqueur because I couldn't find them anywhere, and I really want them back here." So I brought the liqueur back. Oh, so souvenirs, you guys, are called pasalubong. And that's what you bring back to your family. And they have all kinds of like sweet treats in the airport. A lot of it is, they love their sweets in the Philippines. A lot of it is like candies and different crackers. One of my favorites is called polvoron. polvoron. It's kind of like a chalky cookie. It like melts in your mouth. It's so good, and they have all different flavors, but that is my favorite. Also, mango is one of the Philippines' biggest exports, so dried mango is good to bring back, but you could also go to Costco and get like 2 pounds of dried mango, dried Philippine mango as well, if you're craving.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Any other questions before we wrap it up with Leah?
Costco. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah, that was, oh, we have one from Marin. What's the best airline to use? I feel like that would depend where you're coming from.
Where are you coming from? Philippine Airlines flies directly from LA overnight, which is great. They are a little bit pricier, but truthfully, I just use Skyscanner. I flew Eva Air out there because I was trying to be cheap. I think my round trip flight was $800. But I did have a stopover, so I don't mind if you're not short on time. I always just pick the cheapest flights if you have time, or if you just want to get there. Philippine Airlines is probably your best bet. But
All right.
Skyscanner again, yeah.
Cool. I'd just like to say thank you. I'm looking, I don't see, we have Eastern Airlines as the cheapest, says Axel too. And some
kind of Eastern. Yeah. I haven't flown them yet, but.
Philippine Air, and then ANA via Narita, says Carmela. All right, we got a lot of stuff. You guys, if you want to save this chat, just press the 3 dots next to where you type in your chat, and you could save it. So if you have anything you want to reference later. But I just wanted to say thank you, Leah. This was just an incredible presentation. You were a great presenter, and like the photos, I swear, like if you want to get on a plane tomorrow, maybe these are dangerous to do during quarantine. Nobody get on a plane tomorrow.
I know, please don't. Okay? If you're American, they won't let you in anyway. So
yeah. But I just thought that was really, really special, and thank you so much. And so sweet that your family was on too.
Yay.
And we had so much input from people that are Filipino or that have been going to the Philippines. I highly encourage that. Like, this is all by the community, for the community. You know, these events are really meant to educate and inspire, and so like the more you can contribute, the better. It just makes it a much more robust offering. And so I really appreciate Axel, Carmela, everyone that was sort of giving tips in the chat as Leah was going. That was great. And I highly encourage that for all the chats. And then speaking of all the chats,